Anybody who's gone through a rough breakup knows that it's not a walk in the park. No matter how it's done, parting ways with someone you once cared about deeply hurts like a bitch. One of the underappreciated pains of dating, however, is when somebody wants to break up but can't seem to say it. The tension lingers, and the awful feelings accumulate as the silences get longer. Here's a way to cut through the tension and figure out if he secretly wants to break up with you or not. Here are 7 signs he wants to break up but doesn't know how. Number 1. He's just not that into you. He's Just Not That Into You is a 2009 romantic comedy that was surprisingly good. It's about various individuals coming to terms with reality and understanding that somebody they're into isn't actually interested in them. As the character Alex says, "So trust me when I say, if a guy is treating you like he doesn't give a shit, he genuinely doesn't give a shit. No exceptions." It can be easy to give way too much credit to someone we have feelings for and to assume their indifferent or rude behaviour is something we brought on ourselves. We may point to problems in their life or the fact that they've been busy at work. We may think we ourselves somehow deserve it or imagine that we aren't understanding enough. But the truth is that if he's demonstrating that he's not that into you anymore on an ongoing basis, you need to realise that he's not that into you anymore. It's not a Jedi mind trick or an elaborate plan. It's him wanting to break up with you and not wanting to spend the energy or effort to do so. Number 2, he starts talking about how hard it is to stay monogamous. Wait, what? Yes, this is a thing, especially these days. The prospect of having an open relationship can seem exciting and new at first, but once the reality of an open relationship hits home, you're likely to find that it's much harder and more confusing than you imagined. That's why a guy who starts talking about how hard it is to be satisfied just by you is basically just low-key breaking up with you. For better or worse, he's letting you know that you're not enough for him. If he wants an open relationship and you do as well, then that's one thing. But if he more or less tells you that he doesn't like being monogamous and then tells you not to take that personally, you need to really let this stew for a bit. Number 3, you can find a trail of evidence that he's lining up a new girl. Whether your guy has cheated or not, if you start finding evidence that it's on his mind, you have yourself a problem. One of the most common ways that men end a relationship is by getting another girl or 2 lined up first. You may discover messages on his phone or apps, notice strange behaviour, or even see him sneakily flirting behind your back. This is him laying the groundwork for his exit from your relationship. Number 4, a shared future with you clearly isn't on his mind. Another one of the top signs he wants to break up but doesn't know how is that he never talks about the future with you in it. Plans to buy or lease property, job changes, and future ideas seem to only involve him or others in his life, but never you. It may not even be intentional. Many times when a guy has already shelved you away and decided he doesn't love you anymore, his mind simply reshuffles itself and you're no longer a factor in his decisions. In other words, if he's already basically broken up with you in his mind, he no longer considers you a part of his future. This hurts a lot and is highly confusing, which is a perfect example of why it's so frustrating when a man doesn't want to be with you anymore but won't say it. Just go ahead and rip the band-aid off already. Number 5, you don't trigger his inner hero. If he acts like he's unsure whether he really likes you or not, it might be because you're not triggering his inner hero. I learned about this from the hero instinct. Coined by relationship expert James Bauer, this revolutionary concept is about 3 main drivers all men have, deeply ingrained in their DNA. This is something most women don't know about, but once triggered, these drivers make men into the heroes of their own lives. They feel better, love harder, and commit stronger when they find someone who knows how to trigger this. Now, you may be wondering why it's called the hero instinct. Do guys really need to feel like superheroes to commit to a woman? Not at all. Forget about Marvel. You won't need to play the damsel locked in the tower to make him see you as the one. The truth is, it comes at no cost or sacrifice to you. With only a few small changes in how you approach him, you'll tap into a part of him no woman has tapped into before. The easiest way to do this is by checking out James Bauer's excellent free video that I've linked to in the description below. He shares some easy tips to get you started, such as sending him a 12-word text that will trigger his hero instinct right away. Because that's the beauty of the hero instinct. It's only a matter of knowing the right things to say to make him realize that he wants you and only you. All of that and more is included in the informative free video that I've linked to in the description below. So make sure to check it out if you want to make him yours for good. Number 6. He's physically cold around you. One of the top signs he wants to break up but doesn't know how is that he becomes physically cold around you. No more hugs and kisses, minimal or non-existent sex, and even a lack of eye contact are all common symptoms. This is perhaps the most common sign of all that he wants out but doesn't know how. His body and all physical intimacy towards you is shut down, and you feel like you're nothing but a roommate or somebody he used to be together with. It's a horrible feeling, which is why the internet is packed full of people who feel trapped in sexless relationships and marriages. Sex isn't everything, but it's definitely something. And when it's missing, it can often be the sign of a much bigger issues in the relationship. Number 7. You never seem to do anything good enough by his standards. When your relationship has become a seemingly endless uphill climb, it's time to grab your binoculars and check out whether an avalanche is coming. Because the truth is that when nothing you do is ever good enough for him, it's often because he's using endless criticisms and judgment of you to sink the relationship. When you love someone, you give them the benefit of the doubt and interpret their behavior through rose-colored glasses. When you stop loving someone, you become frustrated by them and wish there was some way to break up without hurting yourself and them enormously. Final verdict: is he going to break up with you or not? By now, you should have a better idea of whether he wants to break up with you but doesn't know how. But what would you do if you'd like to continue the relationship with him? The key is getting through to him in a way that empowers both him and you. I mentioned the concept of the hero instinct earlier. By appealing directly to his inner drivers, you won't only help him determine the feelings towards you, but you could even end up in a loving relationship. And since the free video that I've linked to in the description below reveals exactly how to trigger your man's hero instinct, you could make this change from as early as today. With James Bauer's incredible concept, he'll see you as the only woman for him. So if you're ready to take that plunge, be sure to check out his revolutionary advice. Check it out in the description below and learn how to trigger his hero instinct.